Good morning. Welcome to Inside Talk Show. Inside Talk Show, it's an inside job. I'm Carla Elizondo with fabulous wave and hold and height. Look at that. All right, James Allen, The Path to Prosperity, his book, Chapter 2, The World, a Reflex of Mental States. We are continuing the reading. Yesterday he mentioned the story of the two men, right? Circumstances happen to different people, but the outcome of how they react or respond, or how their life unfolds after the incident, is quite different, because when the incidences come and hit us, we deal with them differently based on how we wrap it with our thoughts. He was saying, I knew two men who at an early age lost the hard-earned savings of years. One was deeply troubled and gave way to chagrin, worry, and despondency. The other, on reading in his morning paper that the bank with which his money was deposited had hopelessly failed, and that he had lost it all, quietly, firmly remarked, well, it's gone, and trouble and worry will not bring it back, but hard work will. He went to work with renewed vigor and rapidly became prosperous, while the former man, continuing to mourn the loss of his money and to grumble at his bad luck, remained the sport and tool of adverse circumstances, in reality of his own weak and slavish thoughts. The loss of money was a curse to be one because he clothed the event with dark and dreary thoughts. It was a blessing to the other because he threw around it thoughts of strength, of hope, and renewed endeavor. How are you dealing with circumstances? How have you dealt with difficult circumstances in the past? When it hits you in that moment, don't be fooled. In that moment, you have a choice, and you might not know how. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I know I will. I have faith. I've always gotten through everything. I have support. This is good. That's the motto I use for everything, whether it be oatmeal spilled on the floor in the morning or me not hearing a yes that I really wanted, going after something, working for months for something to be rejected. This is good. This is good. Because what's the other option? To wallow in a failure? Nothing is a failure. You only fail if you quit. This is good. Anything that happens, this is good. If circumstances had the power to bless or harm, they would bless and harm all men alike. But the fact that the same circumstances will be alike good and bad to different souls proves that the good or bad is not in circumstance, but only in the mind of him that encounters it. Listen, if circumstances had the power to help or hurt someone, if the circumstance itself had that power over you, it would have the same power over everybody else. But that's not the case. So he goes on to say, but the fact is that the same circumstances that will be alike good and bad to different souls proves that the good or bad is not in circumstance, but only in the mind of him that encounters it. I use this example, and it's an extreme example. Working with grief or parents who have lost a child. That's shit. That is shitty, shitty, shit. That's terrible. And I remember hearing Sadhguru talk about this. This is the metaphor that really helps me when I talk to people, or just to conceptualize it better. Like, shit happens in life, and that's a big load of crap to lose someone, especially a child. But you hear these stories of when we lost our child, we started a foundation. We're helping other kids. We opened up a blank, a nonprofit. They used their grief and their sadness to heal and help others. And through that, they healed and helped themselves. But then you see other families, unfortunately, and rightly so, who just crumble and fall apart and rip apart at the seams because the stamina, the thoughts of any positivity or light just are not there. And that's why this work is so important. But Sadhguru was saying that shit happens. It's a load of crap, doo-doo. And there's two options. There's two types of people in life. They walk around with their shit, what's happened to them, and say, smell this. Look what happened to me. Smell this. And then the other person walks around and says, look at this rich fertilizer. and plants things. They use it as manure, as fertilizer to grow beautiful things. Both are hard. Both are uncomfortable and painful. But what we do with that, how we think about that. Either we're walking around, smell my shit, look at my shit, how dare this shit happen to me? And then that brings up a whole, well, who do we think we are to be entitled to not having pain? And then the other side is, look at this great fertilizer, this manure I'm going to plant. Look at all the things I can plant now. Because if you've had stuff happen to you, you have an upper hand. If you've been a victim of something, you can be an advocate. Somebody who was never a victim can't be an advocate. I mean, they can be an advocate, but they have not, it's a different understanding. It's a different understanding. In the world of recovery, an addict who is in recovery would much rather hear from and trust someone who was an addict and is now recovered, because they understand, they've been through it. It is an experience, not just a theory. They haven't just read it in a book. Rather than, some mid-20-year-olds that went through, counseling psychology and is at the recovery center. It's like, yes, they can help and they have those tools, but they're lacking the experience. So think of your experience, good or bad, and in this case, bad, as fertilizer, not as just shit, if that makes sense. So let's really change the way we're experiencing, or if there's been something on your mind that you just can't get over, it's so painful, I invite you to reframe it. What's the other option? The fact is that the same circumstances will be alike, good or bad, to different souls. That proves that the good or bad is not in the circumstance, but only in the mind of him that encounters it. And that's our only work, to work on our minds, to work on our minds. Yeah, lots of stories I can share. I'm actually starting to send out my email list, and I'm going to include more exclusive kind of videos and content and storytelling. So if you want to be on that list, please message me. Just send me your email. Just literally copy, paste your email into a message and message me, and I will add you to the list, and you'll start getting just more content, more kind of personal and private. I like people who are invested in people who really do this work. And because I know everybody isn't, so I try to keep it, broad and general here, but personal development. But if you want to get deeper in, please join my email list. I would love to hear from you and connect with you. As always, have a wonderful Friday. Happy weekend. Enjoy. Take time to relax and do nothing, if that's what you want to do, or just do stuff that you really enjoy. Stay present in the moment. As always, if you have any questions, please message me. I'll see you on Monday.